where he started learning from his family and his father, and where you felt like the kind of people he's worked with through his life. I mean, all the different types of people he's worked with. I mean, can you just kind of give us a context of how you think for him innovation fed his career, fed his inspiration as he moved through his playing and composing life?
Well, I mean, my father's definitely at the top of, you know, Indian classical music for many reasons. So, of course, as an instrumentalist, as a performer, a sitarist, as a storehouse of knowledge, all of that aside, just as an innovator and as someone who kind of put Indian classical music on a global map, I mean, he was really the person responsible for that. And I think it was his life before being a musician that was a huge part of that. He grew up initially as a dancer. He was in his brother's troupe, Anoushka Shankar, and he traveled around the world as a teenager performing. And so when he decided to leave that sort of very glamorous dancing world and go and study traditional Indian music at the feet of his guru, Baba Ladan Khan, in a village in India, he already had that side of life experience. So when he began performing, he was able to take music out in a way that no one else could. He knew how to present music. He knew how to, you know, present himself as an artist in a way that the West were perhaps more open to. And I think he also had that desire because of having been out before. So, you know, he was the first person to do anything like collaborate with a Western artist, with Yehudi Menuhin. He wrote the first... Exactly, Rampal.
Has he talked to you about what... Was it difficult for him to teach Menuhin the style, the kind of the bending of notes, the phrasing, or when you're working with an artist like Rampal or with Menuhin, it just came so naturally to them that there was just this great meeting of the minds?
Wow, I don't want to speak for them. I would say that obviously it's because of how amazing they are that they're able to do this. But it is a very challenging thing to do because it's such a different approach. And my father, for the most part, in his writing, every time that he's worked with an artist or collaborated, he's done it very much within an Indian framework. He's written in raga format. He's written, you know, for new arrangements and so on. So they've definitely had to be taught by him, like you said, the way of bending the notes, the way of, and that is a very different approach.
So obviously at Orpheus, we're extremely excited that your dad agreed to write a new piece for you, and we're thrilled that you're able to play it with us next year in Carnegie Hall and around the United States. So maybe you could, how much work have you done with orchestras? Have you played his other two concertos?
I've only played his first concerto, and that I've done quite a few times with different orchestras around the world.
And how is that like kind of mixing the
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's so different from what I get to do normally. I mean, I definitely have an ensemble and I do a lot of work with that. But that very magical feeling of being with so many artists on stage and being a part of a bigger tapestry where your line corresponds with all these others and it comes together is something very unique in my performing life. So every time I get to do it, I love it. And these concertos of my father's are, you know, the only ones that exist for sitar and orchestra, so they're very special. And this third one is going to be the third, and I have to say it's incredible. I'm very excited about getting to play it.
Has your dad talked about the piece specifically with you? Have you seen any of it yet?
I've worked with him actually.
Oh wow! We're all so excited to see the first page of it or anything.
It's so exciting. I mean, I've sat with him through his composition process, not through the entire thing because I've been on tour most of the year, but I spent a week at home with him where he was writing the sitar part with me there. So I was kind of learning it as it was being composed. And
can you describe it a little bit? Is it inspired by anything?
It's basically drawing on, for the most part, folk traditions from all over India. The flavors are very folk tinged, much more so than his previous concertos.
Oh, okay.
And so there's certain themes that keep coming back through the course of the piece. I wouldn't want to say too much about it, but it's beautiful. It's very energetic. It's very rhythmically intricate. I think the guys are going to have some work to do. But it should be fun.
And obviously Orpheus, you know, works without a conductor, so it's really just going to be you and the guys, as we often call them. Yeah. How is that going to be? I mean, as a chance just to work directly, exchanging ideas, experimenting, you know, sharing your experience, then bringing their experience to you. How do you think that will work for you?
I hope it works well. I'm really looking forward to it. I've definitely never done anything like that before, and I think it'll be nice to get to interact with the musicians more. A lot of the times I go and play with an orchestra for one show and I barely talk to anyone on stage because you go and the conductor conducts you and then you've just played a show together and I don't know their names, you know. So I'm looking forward to it being a little more interactive. And I do think it'll be a very interesting challenge because, like I said, it's a very intricate piece. It's a piece that switches time signatures there's a lot. It goes into 7-beat cycles, fives, all these kind
Then
of...
you have to kind of from the raga kind
yes.
of... Okay, wow.
So I think it'll be something challenging for all of us to get to do, which will be fun.
Wow. So, well, I know you're going to play a concert very shortly, so I just want to thank you again for sparing some time and talking about the piece.
Pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing you in January.